Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to continue with Sarah Von Branick's Simple Abundance, 365 Days to a Balanced and Joyful Life. April 4th, playing dress up, empowering your authentic self with fun. What interests us today is remembering the importance of lightening up. A lighthearted sense of spontaneity is closely aligned with spirit. Think of the brother who makes you laugh or the friend who will call you up and ask you to meet her on the spur of the moment for a coffee. Don't you just love to be in their company? Lighthearted people possess the special gift, as dancer Judith Jamison tells us, of being able to open their hearts to life and turn on their creativity. Perhaps it is because these special people still honor the child within. This sacred craft of knowing is one that we can gradually learn to nurture on the path we have chosen. Children love to play dress up. Think of the excitement of a little boy putting together his costume for Halloween, or a little girl lost in the pleasure of exploring her mother's closet and jewelry box on a rainy afternoon. Today, we're going to play dress up too. I love to indulge in this pastime. In the spring and in the fall, when I change my seasonal wardrobe, it's fun to play dress up by yourself or in the company of an accomplice, such as your daughter or a close friend. Be forewarned, however, that with your daughter, you'll frequently hear inquiries such as, "Do you still want this?" Yes, you do. Look at your pared down wardrobe with fresh eyes. Small changes can have a big impact on your look. Try jackets on with different skirts and pants and see if you can't put together new outfits. Try pairing a lean tailored jacket with a flounced skirt and belting it. Instead of always wearing the print silk blouse you bought to go with your navy suit, try a white cotton one with a stand-up collar. If you normally wear your collars open, try wearing them closed with an oversized costume jewelry necklace. A new you? Why not? Now pull your hair back and see what statement a chandelier or chandelier earrings look like. Get out your shoes. Do you always wear plain leather pumps to work? What about switching to suede wedges you save for nights out? Work with whatever you've got in your closet. Have fun with this exercise. Think 7 years old. Think what the heck. The American author and journalist Gail Shee tells us that the delights of self-discovery are always available. Let's make a new entry in the gratitude journal tonight. I had fun today doing, now fill in the blank. When I was a kid, one of the things that I used to love was going to my maternal grandmother's house to spend the night, because she used to let me wear her long satin nightgowns and then play with her jewelry. And so I would put on her nightgowns, and it was like a dress for me. And then I would wear the jewelry and walk around like a princess, and I used to love that. And now I still enjoy dressing up. I love going to Comic-Cons and to Renaissance festivals, so I have different costumes to put on to go, and it's just a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy it. I love Halloween. I love any chance that I can to put on a costume and dress up. April 5th, come alive with color. My first visceral experience of how color could change my life occurred when I was a teenager. We had moved from New York to a small Massachusetts town, and my parents had bought a beautiful New England colonial house built in 1789. Set back from one of the main roads and surrounded by a stone wall, the exterior of the house was white clapboard with traditional black shutters, like many of the houses nearby. Shortly after we moved in, my mother painted the living room a vibrant shade of red. This was long before red became chic, and my teenage mind could not fathom what had possessed her. Neither could our new neighbors. But from the street, the sight of the red living room through the windows, framed by the white and black exterior, took your breath away with its beauty. Mother hadn't consulted the family beforehand. She just followed her instincts, and the result was stunning, which is often the case when we seek and find our authenticity. Even though I had felt unhappy about moving, I always looked forward to walking through the front door of our new home. The red room transformed my attitude. The colors you wear don't have to be the same colors you live with. I love to wear red and black, strong, creative, and dramatic colors, but I need to live with soothing pastels for comfort and joy. There are many facets to your authentic self, just as there are many facets to a beautiful diamond, and you can use color to express your many moods. Think about the colors you love. Are you surrounded by them or wearing them? If not, why not? Look for more ways to come alive this spring with color. Too many of us are afraid of experimenting with color. Just keep this in mind. We are our own research and development team, and as with any science project, all we're seeking is information. Does this work or not? Take a creative excursion soon to an aquarium or pet shop that carries tropical fish. When you get a glimpse of the great creator's color palette, it will astonish you. Today, the design industries, all of whom work a year ahead, anxiously wait for the Pantone color of the year to be revealed. I wonder how many of the judges go on an exotic fish escapade beforehand. What are the colors that speak to your soul? Head out to a paint store and look at the color spectrum among the sample paint chips. If you're like me, the variety will make your heart beat faster. You can even get small tester amounts of a few colors to try out inexpensively at home. Pick up some favorites. Next, go to a fabric store or online and find a textile pattern that catches your eye. Buy a yard of it. Drape it over a couch or pin it up on a wall. Live with the colors for a month. Then use this fabric to cover a pillow or paint a room or a piece of furniture in that new hue. Brighten up your desk with colored files, paper clips, and notepads. Tuck in perky paper napkins when you pack your lunch. Display produce in a bright ceramic bowl on your kitchen counter so that you can see nature's vibrant spectrum. When next at an art museum, collect art postcards to post on a bulletin board or refrigerator, to place on a desk, and to send to friends. Allow yourself to be carried away by colorful impulses. The 19th century English art critic John Ruskin believed that the purest and most thoughtful minds are those which love color the most. Let your love of color express the many hues and shades in your vibrant, authentic self. April 6th. More dash than cash. During the 70s, I lived in London and worked as a fashion copywriter, earning £50 a week, which was then worth about $100. While I worked in a very glamorous profession, I lived in a dreary, cheerless cell euphemistically known as a bedsitter. It was one room. There was a hot plate to cook on, a sink, a 2-shelf fridge, and about 10 feet of space to do with what I liked. Basically, it was just 4 badly plastered walls with an exposed light bulb hanging from the ceiling. The communal bathroom was down the hall, and every time I wanted to take a hot bath, I popped a shilling into a meter to fire up the furnace for 5 minutes. But my cell was located at the top of a stately Victorian building, overlooking a handsome private park off the King's Road in Chelsea. It had granite steps, a heavy wooden black door, and a lion's head for a brass knocker, pristine white woodwork surrounding tall, elegant windows, and boxes overflowing with bright flowers. From the outside, it looked regal, and I loved walking up to it because it made me feel to the manner born. Turning the key was another matter, after I shut the door and trudged up 4 flights of stairs, Cinderella was at home from 7 in the evening. But I was born a dreamer, and I dreamed of living in splendor. At the time, England was trapped in a huge economic crisis over oil, and in London, there were rolling blackouts, a 3-day work week, massive strikes, doom and gloom. I considered myself very lucky to have any kind of paying job, but there was little money for clothes and shoes, and I had to have both. Think The Devil Wears Prada. So I majored in the art of making silk purses out of sow's ears, seeking and finding inspiration everywhere. Creativity is the love child of ingenuity and risk. English Vogue came out with a marvelous series known as More Dash Than Cash, which seemed to sum up the decade. Vintage clothing started making a comeback in Paris. The hallowed halls of haute couture, or custom clothing for the very rich, think Phantom Thread, were replaced by the new ready-to-wear or pret-a-porter runway shows. In London, two global and iconic fashion phenomena took off. Barbara Hulanicki's sensational satin and slinky Art Deco dream clothing brand Biba, and Laura Ashley's romantic Victorian-inspired floral dresses, pinafores, and petticoats started showing up everywhere. Like Marie Antoinette with her gorgeous little farm, sophisticated London women were wearing cottage spring maxi rompers as if they just milked a cow. It was a heady, amazing time to be working in both London and Paris, and for a couple of years, I lived and breathed the fashion world. Still, no matter how exhilarating the fashion shows, I ended up each night in a 4-story walk-up with a bare light bulb hanging over me. Hardly the place to entertain even myself. One Friday night, on my way home, I passed the window of a large department store, Peter Jones, which anchored the King's Road and Sloane Square. A huge remnant sale was advertised, and the fabrics displayed in the window were dazzling. Curious, I went in, took one glance, and visions of grandeur came into view. Mind you, I don't own a sewing machine. I barely know how to sew by hand. It didn't matter. The sight of table after table of the most beautiful bolts of fabrics I had ever seen was intoxicating, inspiring, and irresistible. Here was splendor, and it was affordable. At only £1 per yard, I splurged on an entire bolt, 35 yards of rust, hunter green, and saffron Indian paisley that was cotton with a glazed sheen. It took almost an entire week's salary, but it was worth every penny. That weekend, I cut, glued, stapled, draped, and hung fabric. I covered the walls with it, created a tented ceiling, sewed simple curtain panels by hand. Where there's a will, there's a way. Covered my box spring, fashioned a bedspread, made pillowcases, and draped a canopied alcove to sleep in. By late Sunday night, both the room and I had been transformed. I could have been manic, but I prefer to think of that weekend as mystical. I was exhausted and exhilarated by my beautiful surroundings and my creative risk-taking. I was so proud of myself and bowled over by the beauty that this probably could qualify as my first ecstatic experience. But what's more, I had learned that I could trigger the ecstatic through my own creativity, instincts, and verve. Glory be, I wish I had taken pictures. I believe that lurking beneath every woman at her wit's end, whether she knows it why or not, there's a woman needing to jumpstart her courage and let loose her artist of the everyday. Let the artist out of the attic. Are you just itching to cut, glue, staple, drape, and hang something new and different on your walls or your body? Today, I would love to convince you that there's no room in your home, nor outfit in your head, nor work in your heart that cannot be transformed by using fabric, paint, a saw, a hammer, nails, needle and thread, a sewing machine, glue, the amazing staple gun, coupled with your own imagination, creative energy, and emotion. Don't hesitate or second guess the divine spark. Charge ahead. Be on the lookout for the ecstatic experience. I know one is waiting for you. Here's a hint. Triggering it will require more dash than cash, and you've got plenty of that. In fact, all you have is all you need. Until tomorrow, I hope you have an amazing and blessed day.